This week on NWP, I don't know, it's a podcast. You put it in your ears, maybe?
He wants to be alone so he can process this to a point of understanding this. Starboy, that's who he is, that's not who he is. Starboy, he knows it now and now it's the truth. The captain of outer space is his brother. The captain of outer space, he knows it's true. He wants to be alone.
Hello everyone and welcome to Nerds Without Pants, episode 58. I am Julian, and I'm not joined as always by Patrick, but maybe he'll be around later. I don't know. I am joined by Angelo.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. And if you're going to stick a podcast in a hole, yours would be the hole to put it in.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we're off to a smashing start.
Yes, we are.
So once again, one of those issues where we had a plan going into the show and then things happen, life happens. I think Patrick is doing some like teaching or something right now. He might be on later, but if not, it's just going to be the two of us, and we really need, once again, 3 people for the topic that we wanted to do. So last time we missed Angelo, this time we're missing Patrick. So I guess we're just going to talk about some stuff. I don't think either of us have been up to a lot lately, but as I said last episode, like I had just picked up I just received my iPhone 6 Plus before we started recording, and so I've had now a full 2 weeks to fiddle around with it, and I can't go back, Angelo.
Yeah.
Like, for a guy with hands the size of mine, the iPhone 6 Plus is like the perfect size.
Yeah.
And I really like it. But also, I mean, the reason I ended up getting it is because, I only really talk on my phone when it's plugged into my car through Bluetooth these days. So I'm rarely ever holding it when I'm on a call. And I do like to play games on my phone once in a while, and I figured, hey, 5.5-inch screen is a lot better than a 3.5-inch screen, or
right.
whatever my old phone was. And to that end, I did download Tera Battle. That was the first thing that I did. I said that would be the first thing, and it was the first thing. So I played some Tera Battle.
And what did you think?
I don't know what Tera Battle is.
You don't know what Tera Battle is?
Like, I've played it for probably a good hour. I don't know what it is. Like, I don't really understand it. And I think, I don't know. No, well, I was going to say there are times when I think that I've got the attack all lined up, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is totally going to hit. And then nothing happens, and I don't know why.
So there's a few different mechanics going on in the game. One is the rock, paper, scissors element.
Right, I got that part.
Okay. The second is the fact that you have to chain your army members together in order for them to really be effective. Like, if you just have 2 people on either side of an enemy, that's going to make them attack, but they won't get any bonuses because the rest of the army isn't joined in. But if you have the rest of the army on either parallel from them, so either vertically or horizontally from the characters that are touching the enemy, they'll give you bonuses. And that's how you really need to take people down.
Yeah, I feel like there's been times though when I actually did have 2 enemies like on a pincer attack and nothing happened, or 2 of my guys, surrounding an enemy. But maybe, I don't know. It's different than what I was expecting, both from like hearing other people talk about it and also your description of it on the last episode, because it's a lot more puzzly than I was anticipating. And I'm not one of those guys who's really good at like seeing like 3 things ahead. So like doing the whole, well, I'm going to move my character in this direction specifically because it's going to line up these other 2 guys in this perfect way. Like, I can't do that. So there's tons of times when it's like, oh, well, everybody just attacked all at the same time, and that was awesome. And then other times where it's like, well, nothing happened. I don't know why. And both times, like, either situation, I don't know what I did or didn't do. And it's like, it's interesting. Like, it's a really good application of, like, a touchscreen. Like, the way you play it is, I mean, it's perfectly suited to that. I think I'm too much of a graphics snob to just have, like, portraits being slid around a tile, though. Like, I kind of need a graphical representation of the battle. Like, that's just, like, I need at least, Super Nintendo era Fire Emblem, level of graphics where it's just two little bitty animated characters, like, swinging swords and stuff.
Yeah, the portraits, and then, like, just when they attack, you have the bigger pictures of them that just move across the screen.
I need more.
There's something to it that I find really charming. Like, I like the way the game is animated a lot, but I can totally understand why somebody wouldn't.
Right.
It's not even like retro. It's almost more like a Flash game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's just let's keep everything as simple as possible, as little moving parts, so it's not an issue for computers to just how Flash works and everything. So, but that's not what this is. So there's no real reason for it. I mean, as far as I know, most of the information is stored on your device, and it does have to contact the server, but that's just to get the scenarios, and then everything else is just hosted on your handheld. So there's no real reason to not crank it up a little bit, except maybe battery life. The game is pretty good about, not destroying your battery, so maybe that's the reason.
Yeah, I mean, it's very smart in the way it's designed, and it does communicate a lot of stuff to you well. I mean, if it wasn't for the timer when you're actually moving your character, it would be a lot easier for me because they do a really excellent job of letting you know when, hey, if you move here, then you have line of sight with these two characters, so they're going to be included in the battle. But I start to spaz out. 'Cause like, I don't have enough time. Like, I need to get over there, and I just messed up.
Yeah, I'll have a perfect thing planned out. And the fact of the matter is, too, no matter what you do, touchscreens are going to be finicky. So I've gotten screwed out of some great moves because the touchscreen didn't do exactly what I wanted it to do, or my finger slipped, or whatever. I mean, that's just kind of the nature of the thing. But I don't know. Like, it's sort of like the only thing this could really be on is a touchscreen, and it's like it was made exactly for. It feels like one of the few games that I play on my cell phone that feels like it was made for my cell phone rather than something else like, oh, this could have been a Super Nintendo game. We're going to put some controls on the screen for you and pretend that it's made for your cell phone or whatever, And
going to that, it definitely harkens back. I mean, because Sakaguchi's been around for a long time, and I think he was always able to play to the strengths of whatever he was on, and he was able to. There's like an economy to the way that he would design games where he was using them like really well, but at the same time knowing those limitations. And right. That's like really old school game design where I think modern indies are like, well, I mean, the game started out as a 500 meg thing, but then it ballooned into this 27 gig monster because I didn't really have any, the sky's the limit, so I don't really have to worry about it. Where,
right.
Here it's like, well, no, it's a mobile game, for this very specific device, and it totally plays to all those strengths.
Yeah.
I'm going to play more of it. It's just, I don't.
You get the hang of it. And then, I mean, then the game starts to challenge you with, like, some of the weirder stuff, like the hunts you can go on, where there's weird ones like, well, one of them is you can only use elemental attacks. That's the only thing that'll do damage. That's interesting. The other two hunts are, one is, I think it's called Tin Parade, which is kind of my least favorite one. It's basically you have the monsters spawning in and then moving to the other end of the map, and they can't attack until they touch a point on the other end of the map. But once they do, they get one attack, and it's usually pretty devastating. So you want to kill them before they get there. There's 3 rounds, and as a certain, like, I think the 3 rounds are divided up into, like, I think it's 5 or 6 turns per round, and then after that the board wipes and resets. Okay. So you get like 3 rounds where the board resets and you do it again, and if your characters get wiped out, you lose. But and what they do for these is they crank up the item drops. So if you're doing the pudding one, which is, I guess, what they're calling the flans now, because that's the whole idea, is that these are the flans from Final Fantasy, but they're not,
right?
Because they can only be damaged by elements. You get certain item drops, and if you do the Tin Parade one, and then my favorite one is I forget what it's called, but it's you get just a certain amount of time. So you put your finger on a piece, and the clock starts, and then you can kill as many enemies as you want. You can stay there as long as you want, but as soon as that timer runs out, you're done. And I can get that thing going for forever. I can get like 25 item drops out of that. It's fun. So
Nice.
anyway, I think, yeah.
Well, let me ask you, do your characters, like, when your characters die, or I don't know if you've lost any, but, like, is that it? Like, is it, they're dead and they're gone and you don't have them anymore?
In fact, they even gain experience points.
Weird.
They're just eliminated from the rest of that battle.
So, where are they planning on making money? Because I don't really see anything, like, I saw that, like, you can buy, like, more energy so you can keep playing, but I feel like you get enough energy to where...
Earlier on, yeah.
Okay, maybe
earlier on you do. But later on, it's like, in order to do one of those special things, which you need items in order to, when you get to the point where you can add more jobs for your characters, you need a certain amount of items to do that. And it's usually 3 different items and a lot of them. So you have to do these other events, and then those cost, like, the level 1 special events cost 10, the level 2 special events cost 15 stamina.
Okay.
So that's where that starts to happen.
Okay, so if you're really intent on, like, putting in a good, like, half hour later on, you're gonna probably want to spend some money. Okay.
I don't, and that's my only complaint about it is that I don't like that type of a system. I've been playing a lot of Hearthstone too. I like that system a lot, where it's just, hey, play the game. If you want to buy card packs, you can buy card packs, but you don't really need to. Play the game. We'll sell you expansions.
Right.
That works for me. I mean, that to me seems fair. Like, I haven't, I say this having not done it yet. I mean to buy the first expansion, and they're coming out with another one already. They just announced it at BlizzCon. So.
Oh, so the expansions are actual pay items?
Yeah, but they're cash only. You can't pay for them with coins.
Wow, okay. I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Because when I started playing it, I honestly haven't played it since, like, that first couple weeks. There was, like, that Nexus something.
Right, that's it.
But I felt like that was in there. Like, I could just play it.
I think there were 4 missions in Nexus, and for a certain amount of time, the first mission was free.
Oh, okay.
And now it's all behind a paywall.
Okay. All right, that makes sense. I mean, and that's totally fine. I mean, there's plenty of game there if you just want to, like, play some cards.
Right, and to be honest, the cards you get from the expansion, I don't feel like break the game balance. Like, I've fought against people that are using those cards, and I've won, and I haven't bought the expansion yet. If you build a good enough deck, you'll be fine.
Yeah, and also, like, there's a depth to the strategy there where I feel that, I definitely went up against guys who had way better cards than I did.
Oh, yeah.
But I was able to circumvent a lot of that stuff and actually come back from the clutches of total defeat to, like, win the match. I was like, that's a really good game.
Yeah. I think I mentioned this before, I have a very controlling play style where I want to own the board. And the decks that I enjoy playing usually do that. In fact, Hearthstone seems to kind of favor that type of mentality when you're playing the game. Like, it's a very control-focused game. So, I don't know. Like, it kind of clicks with me, I think, a little bit better than even Magic did, even though I played Magic for years and years and years. I'm sure that helped a lot when coming to Hearthstone, because I can see, okay, well, one of the things that Hearthstone does that I really like is they put out the classes. They do that. Like, when you're playing Magic, you have elements, and you can mix and match whatever you want. So you can basically build a deck out of whatever you want in Magic, but you have to have certain elements in your deck because only certain elements can cast certain spells. That's the easiest way to explain it. Here, the mana builds on a consistent basis. So you don't have to worry if you're not familiar with Magic. You have to actually draw mana out of your deck and play it in order to get more mana in the Magic. In Magic the Gathering. In Hearthstone, it just comes every turn automatically. Yeah. Your mana refills and you get one more up to 10, and then you're locked at 10 for the rest of the game. So that aspect is replaced, the limiting aspect of it is replaced by classes, and only certain classes can play certain cards, and then there's a bigger pool of cards and everybody can play. And then just, if you're able to know by looking at your class-specific cards, hey, here's a really neat combination of cards that I can use to build a killer deck, and then go over to the common cards and then pick things that complement that. If you know how to do that, you're set. You can probably put together a pretty decent deck without breaking a sweat, and then it's just a matter of tweaking from there. Like, I need more card drawing because that didn't work, or it's kind of light on creatures, so I need to put more summons in there.
Yeah, I think I put together a pretty good deck for my mage, but I wanted to get away from her because she's the starting class. So like I figured, well, everybody plays the mage or whatever. And so the hunter that I've been working on, like I really hadn't been able to like pick a strategy. And I think part of it is I need to like play around more with like the class specific cards and see what they can do, and then move from there.
Yeah. I like the mage. I came back to her. I had the same thing in the originals. Like, I don't want to stick with the mage. I played the mage enough. Let's do something else. So I went with the rogue, and then I played the rogue for a while, and then I really got stuck on paladin. And my paladin deck that I'm running now is a strategy of a lot of really, really cheap creatures with buffs. So all my cards involve, like, I can play this really cheap creature because the whole idea of the paladin is his special ability is for 2 mana. He puts the 1/1 on the board, just like that. So you can basically always have a creature on the board and then buff or protect it as need be to just kind of keep that thing around and just torment whoever you're playing against with a constant barrage of minions.
Especially because, like, if depending on who you're playing against, they might decide that they don't even want to mess with, the little guys that you have out there. But then you get to this point where you're like, well, I've got 8 of these guys, and they're all going to attack you, every turn, and it's going to take you a long time to whittle them down.
The other thing I like to do is there's what's the character with the totem pole? I can't the totem. Shaman. That's becoming one of my favorites, but I really hate the tactic. It feels dirty that I use, which is it's the same thing. It's minion flooding, and then using like I think it's called Bloodlust or something, which buffs all your minions up for 1 turn, and then just crashing through and wrecking the other guy because he's the same thing. He puts a minion on the board. It's a random one though. Sometimes they can attack, sometimes they can't. Sometimes they're just walls. They're just taunt creatures.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you get other cards that make them attack, so it's basically very similar to my paladin strategy. Just I think that's kind of where I fell on this. Which is it's still a control strategy, but it's way different than I played Magic. My strategy was just making sure the opponent could literally not play anything. Oh, you played a creature, I'll bounce it back to your hand. Oh, you cast a spell, I'll counter it. I played a lot of blue, for anybody who knows what that is. So
I'm sure there's some people out there.
I feel like I'm talking deep shop now. That like maybe 3 of the people listening to this podcast are going to know what I'm talking about. Be like, oh, sweet, he played Magic, and everybody else is going to go, where's the skip button?
No, I mean, but that's good because I'm sure there's some big Magic fans out there. But yeah, so. Been playing a decent amount of Tera Battle, but really the iOS game, and everything that I've got to talk about game-wise this time is iOS because I literally have not had any free time in the evenings, since we recorded last, and then I've done a lot of traveling, which I might talk about later if we have time, but Spider-Man Unlimited, which is that Temple Runner style game that John Golson had talked about last time he was on. It's really good. Like, to the point that it might be one of my favorite Spider-Man games, as far as, like, really leveraging the property well and kind of capturing what makes Spider-Man cool. Mm-hmm. I hadn't actually played, I guess, the Temple Run type of never-ending runners.
I'm sure that's part of it. I'm sure if you haven't played that before, then this is all new.
Well, yeah, because I've played, running games, but they've always been the 2D ones like Jetpack Joyride and Cannonball. So I had never played like the ones from behind the back type of thing where you're swiping left and right to move between the lanes and you're jumping and stuff like that. So that's part of it. But it's got a really clean, like cel-shaded graphic style to it that reminds me a lot of my actual favorite Spider-Man game, which is Ultimate Spider-Man that came out on PS2 and Xbox. So it's got a really good look to it. They have a really good way of explaining, like, what, because, here the thing that you want to collect are different Spider-Men. And Spider-Man has had so many different incarnations over the years that they're really playing on that. And it's actually tied into a current, or an upcoming storyline in the comics called Spider-Verse, where apparently they're going to include every single incarnation of Spider-Man ever in this storyline, including, like, the Japanese live-action one and the Super Friends one. I mean, not Super Friends, but, like, Spider-Man and his, secret pals or what. What was it?
Back up. There was this Japanese live-action Spider-Man.
Yeah, he's got a robot.
And I didn't know this.
Well, you do now.
I need to find this. This sounds amazing.
But not to be confused with the Electric Company live-action Spider-Man from the States, which I think they also have in there. But anyway, So yeah, there's reasons for you to be collecting all these different versions of Spider-Man, and they do a really good job of like, oh, well, for this mission you need Secret War Spider-Man, or for this mission you need a level 21 Spider-Man. So there's incentive to try to collect characters, but also level them up, across the board. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's just a lot of fun, and I love the way they handle the web swinging. Like, it's just like a tap and hold type thing, but the animation and the inertia and the physics on the way the web swinging works is really excellent. I'm really impressed with it.
There is Rayman, I think it's called Jungle Run. Rayman Jungle Run. That's also free to play. Look that up. It's really cool. It's just a single. It's very, very similar, very simple. Just Rayman runs, and you tap when you want him to jump. And there's some other gestures you can do that unlock as the game moves on, just like when you're playing. Do you have much experience with the Rayman games?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool. So you know how go through, you get a sprite, and then you get some other ability or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that, but it's just an endless runner type deal. So if you like that, but you want like a 2D less, it's like a 2D platformer version of that. It's a lot of fun too. I played that quite a bit.
Grabbing all those mad lums.
Yep. That's the idea. You have to get all the lums to go to the next stage, so you have to go through and make your jumps right to get all of them. It's fun.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. But then it's funny, and I kind of wanted to use this as a springboard to kind of talk more about like the free-to-play model, because we talked about it a little bit last time. But Spider-Man is really weird because the pricing is really terrible for the stuff.
Oh, really?
You would think that, like, well, I'm going to buy Spider-Man, and of course it's like random, like you have different tiers of, it's like, well, you have a chance of getting this type of Spider-Man, but you don't know what it's going to be, and of course there's duplicates, so I've had like just plain old Spider-Man, I've probably got him like 8 or 9 times already. But meanwhile, I can't get a second Scarlet Spider, which I need in order to rank up the one that I already have to like break his level cap. But anyway.
Is there a way to, like, if you get duplicates, I keep going back to Hearthstone because that's what I'm into right now, but you know how if you get more than 2 cards, you can break down one of the cards to dust?
Right.
There's no point in having more than 2.
Here, you can do a few things with extra cards, or extra Spider-Man. You can actually straight up sell them for the vials, which are used to basically vials purchase most of the things in the game. That you can buy extra Spider-Man, you can buy extra slots to hold Spider-Man, because of course that's limited. You can buy boosts for the levels, which of course costs a lot. But so you can sell your extras for that, or you can fuse them into other Spider-Man to level up the one that you want faster. You can actually add up to like 5. And you have to pay a whole bunch of vials to do it, but you can, do it that way. Or if you have, like, let's say you have a level 20, well, like, this is what I need. I have a level 20 Scarlet Spider, and he's maxed out at 20. In order to get him to go past 20, I need to get another Scarlet Spider and fuse it into the other one, and then it lets him go up to, like, I guess, like 30 or 40. But of course I need to find one, and like that hasn't happened yet. But no, so you would think that that's where you'd be spending your money, but you're actually spending it on this element called IO8, and it's like you do earn it when you're playing the game. There's rewards for certain quests and stuff like that. You'll also randomly get them just in a good run or whatever. So they come in at a pretty decent clip. But let's say that you want to get like a premium Spider-Man. That's 25 IO8, right? That equates to, like, I think $4.99.
What? That's the price of a free game. That's the price of a mobile game, basically.
Yeah, like the pricing for that stuff is really bad. And I did buy some IO8 because they had a sale over the weekend, and it was like 99 cents for like the $4.99 version, basically. So I went ahead and bought that, and I got some neat stuff with it. But it's like, guys, if you'd lower them a little bit, like make the pricing make a little more sense, because it's such a consumable item, because it's also something that you use to continue if you want to like continue your run, and it's like, so you're using these things all the time. I would probably spend a pretty decent amount of money on the game over time if I was like, oh, well, I can get 25 for $1 or whatever. I can justify doing that quite a few times if I'm enjoying the game enough. Not all at the same time, mind you, but like, let's say over the course of a month. I could see myself spending a decent amount of money, because I've done that in the past with other free-to-play games. But, yeah, it's like the pricing structure is such where it's like, well, I'm having a lot of fun with this game, guys, but probably not going to spend much more money on your game, and, sucks for you.
Yeah, it's like I forget what podcast I heard this on, but they said, I'll do it if it feels more like putting money in a tip jar than buying something.
Right.
Like, that's where I feel comfortable doing it. And I feel the same way. It's like, I actually don't mind, like Hearthstone, again, I keep coming back to it.
Well, that's what you're playing this free-to-play lately.
That's what I'm playing. That and Tera Battle.
Right.
But Tera Battle, I don't feel like I felt the desire to put money into it yet. I probably will at some point. The hook in Tera Battle, the pay hook, doesn't really grab me.
At all.
Yeah, that's the weird thing. Is like, I hope they make money on this. I hope they come up with something. Here, what I hope they end up doing, and this is just I'm getting distracted from my original point, but whatever, is they end up doing something like Hearthstone does, where it's like, okay, we're going to do an expansion, so we're going to give you another mission to go on, because whenever you're done with the story mission of the first one, here's another story mission for you to go on, and here's a bunch more classes that you can get in this, and it's $2.99 for the expansion, and
right.
I'm done. I don't know.
Perfect.
I just spit out a number there. It might be more, it might be less. I don't know what they'll do. That's where I'm hoping that game goes. Because to be honest, right now, even at the level I'm playing it at, where things cost a lot more stamina than they actually do, I will still flip the phone open, play a couple rounds, put the phone away, and move on with my life. I don't feel like I need to be stuck in that game. I love it when I'm playing it. It is a lot of fun, to kind of like strategically map out where you want to move your tiles and what you want to accomplish. But the money, I don't feel the need to pay. And that's kind of where I hope that they do better. I don't know, like, in a lot of ways, I think mobile games in general haven't figured out that pay strategy yet. I was playing a game ages ago, and I'm going to try to get the name back here because I forgot it. It's been so long. Card Hunter. I don't know if you remember me talking about that a lot.
I do, yeah.
Yeah. That was fun, but it was the same thing where it was like, I don't know where to put the money here. It never felt like I actually wanted to give them money because I played that game so much that I felt like I should be giving these guys some credit for all the work that they put into this, but I never found anything I wanted to spend money on. And that was a really kind of a weird situation to be in. Whereas Hearthstone, I throw money at the screen. Yes, more cards. This game is fantastic.
Have you bought some cards on Hearthstone?
Not yet, but I'm gonna get those expansion packs. I haven't finished. I haven't done everything I want to do with the original game just yet, and then I'm gonna get the spider thing expansion pack, whatever it was, and mess around with that a little bit.
Cool.
So yeah, I will. I'll put money into that for sure.
Yeah, I was wondering about Card Hunter actually because I had actually gone back and I ended up listening to that episode again for some reason. Mm-hmm. I think it was the Halloween episode because I was making sure that we didn't like rehash too much stuff from last year. And you had talked about it, and I was like, I wonder if Angelo ever actually did, like, give him some money, because you were really into it, but I know you were expressing that problem that you just really didn't know what, if anything, to spend money on with that particular game. Mm-hmm.
And then by the time I was just like, then I lost interest. And it wasn't, I didn't lose interest because of any fault with the pay structure. I lost interest because the missions became too long. Like, I would have to sit down and devote, like, a half hour to playing one round of this game, and it's like, it's not... I'm not really a PC gamer, so this is going to sound a little weird to those of you that are, except with very, very few exceptions, those being, like, the games that you would think of, Half-Life, Thief. I mentioned Age of Wonders a million times, and that I will sit down and play, but that's not an online game.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's not one where I can't save Card Hunter and then kind of come back to it later. I have to sit there and cut out that hour of time and devote myself to the game, and I have a life.
Well, and that's also like pretty much antithetical to mobile gaming, unless you're like one of those diehards who's like, well, I'm going to buy Final Fantasy VI on my phone, and good luck finishing that.
Well, it's a browser-based game, so it's not really a mobile game.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you're right. Okay.
But it still was like, if I need to do something, I can't be like, well, you have to wait 20 minutes. This is the same reason I couldn't get into, like, MOBAs and stuff like that either, because I cannot sit down and devote that kind of time to it. I love Dark Souls. I could not really, really, really I couldn't finish Dark Souls. I've restarted that game like maybe 3 times, and every single time I get to a certain point, and the online nature of the game and the fact that I can't pause it always just makes me just so frustrated that I have to walk away.
Right.
I can't do that, you know. So that gets in my way a lot. That's what killed Card Hunter for me, was just the mission length.
Right.
Hearthstone, I don't have that problem at all. I'm in and out of a game in 10 minutes.
Yeah,
you know?
And then it's up to, but then of course what happens is you end up playing for 2 hours because you're like, one more. Exactly,
but, and I would do that with any of these games if they're good. It's just within those 2 hours, I'm like, all right, I don't need to go to the next one. I can get up, I can do this, I can do that. Hey, you know, have you taken a shower yet? No, get upstairs. You know, that kind of stuff.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just, I don't have the kind of lifestyle where I can sit down. I don't think I ever will again, to be honest with you. Where I can just sit down and totally shut the rest of the world out for an hour. Like, that is not possible anymore.
Dude, that scares me because, like, I'm, you know, hopefully going to be in the same situation that you're at as far as, like, you know, marrying into a family that already exists, and it's like, that's exciting, and, you know, I don't want to be alone my whole life, but at the same time, you know, sometimes Julian's just got to, like, play some games for 4 hours.
But in return, I have 4 co-op partners for any couch co-op game I want to play.
That's true.
Dude, Smash Brothers is an event in this house. It is amazing.
You're selling me on it.
It's you know what I mean? Like, there's some experiences that you will not get to have, but you'll get other ones. It's not a loss, it's a loss gain type situation, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, some of the best memories that we've had have been in front of the TV playing some sort of a co-op video game, like introducing them to old stuff. You know, Golden Axe, all of us sitting together and passing the controller around, and I can never pronounce that game again, but Ikaruga, something like that.
Ikaruga.
My youngest asks, and he gets butchered every time he plays this game. Can we play that game again? Because he can't pronounce it either. I go, which one? And I'll try to get him to try and say it. You know, the one where you change the color of the ships and you're shooting the other ships. And we're like, okay, yeah, we'll go play that. And I mean, you don't get that. You don't get that anywhere else.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I definitely have, you know, this idea in my head to turn my girlfriend's daughter into a geek. Because she's 10. She's 10, so it's like it's the perfect time. But, like, I can already see, like, just in interacting with her, that she's veering too close to the dark side of, like, you know, just kind of being too, like, kind of wanting to be in with, like, the cool girls and, you know, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I need to teach you about the important things in life, like comic books and video games and Doctor Who and Star Trek, and put you on the right path. But going back, I don't want to, like, belabor the point, but, you know, you talking about, like, the stamina for, like, Tera Battle and some of those other games, you know, makes me think, because I wonder, because that's kind of a holdover from, like, the Facebook games.
Yeah, I hate those games. I hate that whole system. I don't know what I'd replace it with, but I hate it.
And my thing is, I wonder if they just are working off of old numbers, like, they're like, oh, well, Zynga did so well with this stuff, but Zynga's also pretty much gone now. So I don't know if they just haven't, like, found a good thing to update it with, but like a good example is I'm playing Dragon Age Heroes, which is not a good game. Like, I would just, it's not even really a game, okay? And which that's disappointing for me. Not to go off of too much of a tangent, but, like, there was a time last generation where I was very proud to be an EA Games purchaser, because they gave you so many cool little freebies for buying their games.
Right.
Like, when I booted up Dragon Age 2 for the first time, I had stuff from Dead Space 2, Mass Effect, Dragon Age 1. I got a whole bunch of stuff from playing the Facebook game Dragon Age Legends, which, I might add, was a very excellent turn-based RPG built in Flash for Facebook. If they had made that for iOS and just updated it to, you know, with new graphics, I probably wouldn't. I'd probably be playing it right now as we're recording, because that's how addicted I was to that game. Dragon Age Heroes kind of takes the, like, it's not actually like trading cards, but like you basically like you buy like packs of characters, and of course they're common, uncommon, rare, epic, blah blah blah, and you're trying to put together a team of 5, but then once you put together your team and you go to battle, just put the controller down or put this phone down, because it's literally just like it's all based on dice rolls and speed of your characters, and you really don't have anything to do in the fight. It's all based on how you prepared beforehand. And I'm sure there's a certain type of gamer who that appeals to, but I would like
played Final Fantasy 13.
Yeah. Or like just plan your battle and then just see it execute.
Yep.
But I would like some more interaction with that. But it's that same thing where it's like I'm at a point now where I can only fight 2 story battles before I run out of energy. But I have no desire to buy energy. Like I just put it down and I come back to it later. But then the weird thing, kind of to continue from like the really gross way they're doing FIFA that Patrick was talking about last time.
Mm-hmm.
So on Dragon Age Heroes, I actually earn enough gold just from doing stuff in order to buy packs of characters. So I've only spent like $1 on this game because there was like one thing that was like, well, you have a chance to get an epic character. That's 99 cents. And I was like, I'll do that. And I got this character that literally annihilates everything on the other side most of the time. She's that overpowered. Nice. And I'm like, okay, well, I really don't know what to do with this anymore. Like, it's really pretty, and it's Dragon Age, and I'm hoping that somehow it ties into Dragon Age Inquisition, but I don't see any hooks in there for that yet. Like, it didn't say that I'm earning anything that's going to carry over, but if they don't do that, I'll be very sad, because for a while there, like I said, every EA game that I played tied into, stuff that I was playing. I mean, the friggin', like, I think I got something in Mass Effect 3 for playing the Kingdoms of Amalur demo. That's how interconnected that stuff was. Yeah. And I think that's really smart and really fun. But, yeah, it's interesting to see these differences in, like, business models. And then I actually bought an iOS game called Star Command, which is sort of like FTL, but more zoomed in. Like, instead of like this big overhead view of your ship, it's actually more of an isometric thing where you can see your crew walking around. They're real detailed. And it tickles that Star Trek vibe in me.
Yeah.
But I paid $2.99 for that, but it's also, for some reason, I've played the least of the games that I downloaded in the last 2 weeks. I don't know what that says about mobile gaming.
The games that I tend to gravitate towards are free to play because
why not?
As weird as it is, there's so much garbage out there in the mobile universe, so much of it that you can't really filter through it effectively.
Right.
So I only go with stuff that's at least free to play to start, or free to play / ad driven, something like that, because I want to make sure I'm not getting a piece of garbage. Now, it's a little bit different if, Square comes around and says, hey, here's Final Fantasy VI on your phone.
And we're going to charge you $15 for it.
About that. Maybe not so much the price tag. Like, I paid $5.99 for it.
Sure, so would I.
In a heartbeat. I have not bought any of those for my phone, but at least at that point I know what I'm getting.
Definitely.
If the free-to-play thing works like an extended demo almost, where it's like, hey, we'll give you a good portion of the game, and then here's more game if you want to pay for it, and then maybe like for the free-to-play thing, it's like, oh, before you play, you have to here's an ad that you have to hit the X button on before the game starts or something. I don't know. Anything. I mean, I don't want these guys to starve, but I have to make sure that what I'm playing isn't a complete turd, because there have been so many of those, not that I've bought, but that I've just seen or that I've downloaded to try out, and I've been like, this is, somebody's school project that they put on here hoping some sucker would download it and give them some money, and I'm not that sucker, so...
you seem to be describing Flappy Bird.
It might be. Not that in particular, but that whole thing has been around for a long time, especially when Android first came out. I mean, iOS was a little bit better. I haven't had any experience with the iOS marketplace, just with people that have had iPhones that I've seen and things like that. So I think the sort of the walled garden that is the marketplace on iOS devices kind of lends itself to being at least a little better as far as quality is concerned. it's not flawless. No system is. But on an Android device, man, you get it all. I mean, you get everything.
Right.
Good, bad, and ugly. And so much of it is bad and ugly. So.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I end up just kind of like going off of like word of mouth. That's how I found like Ridiculous Fishing last year, because so many like people on podcasts were talking about it, and it's a fantastic game. I actually should probably re-download it because I'd like to like play through it again.
Yeah.
But that's also how I discovered Monster Strike, which I just got yesterday, so I don't have a lot of experience with it. Apparently, it is the big thing in Japan on mobile devices these days, and it just came out to the States. But and Angelo, I know you really hate Angry Birds, and I don't know how you're going to feel about this.
I don't hate Angry Birds. I just got really, really bored with it really fast.
Oh, okay. Well, Monster Strike is more like pinball mixed with a little bit of Arkanoid and a little bit of Angry Birds.
Hey, this sounds fantastic, actually.
Yeah, and marbles, like playing with marbles, like the actual physical marbles. So basically, you have these little monsters, and they're all kind of roly-poly. They're round. Mm-hmm. And you're fighting other monsters, and the way you do it is you pull back on your monster, and you can kind of angle, where you want the trajectory. Like, it shows the arrow, and different monsters have different ways that they behave once you launch them. But then you let go, and then physics does the rest. So you can, but there's more strategy than Angry Birds, in my opinion, because you can actually, like, angle in such a way where it's like, it's almost like pool, also. All sorts of stuff. I see that Angelo is downloading it right now.
Yes, I am. I'm going to have to try this. You said some of my favorite things all at the same time, so this is happening.
Yeah. So I've definitely had parts where it's like, oh well, if I hit here, I'm gonna bank off of this wall and come back around and hit this monster and ricochet off of that one, and sure enough, that's what happens, and it's like very satisfying. So yeah, it's really cute. It's definitely got like a charming Pokemon feel to it. There's a gotta catch 'em all type of mentality, and it's free to play. It seems like, again, it's one of the better ones as far as you only pay for what you want. Like, it's not necessarily like, I haven't, at least from what I was looking at, it doesn't seem like, it's trying to grab money from you like left and right. Like, it seems like a more of an opt-in situation. So I'm looking forward to playing more of that. It's really cute.
Yeah.
And actually, that makes me wonder if your pinball RPG,
Rollers of the Round,
that one, is going to end up on iOS as well as PC, because I feel that this would be a perfect platform for it, especially with my fatty like 6+.
Well, they have a publisher now. They're going through Atlas, if I remember correctly.
Oh, Atlas seems so like perfectly matched for that.
As far as I've heard, the latest was it's coming out on PS4, PSP, or not PSP, PS Vita, and PC. That's what we have so far.
It's a Wii U game, too.
I'm surprised. Yeah. Oh, it would make a really good Wii U game.
Yeah.
The tablet and everything?
Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect. And I don't know if maybe like Atlas is playing it close to the hip. Like, okay, this is this is a niche within a niche.
Right.
But it's freaking sweet.
Yeah, like we
you know what I mean?
Get the money up front before we go to iOS and charge like $2 for it.
Yeah. Like I could look at this as as an armchair publisher, okay? And go, this would be awesome if it catches fire, but I have no guarantee that it'll catch fire.
Right.
Like, this seems like if people are aware that this exists and they're willing to give it a shot, it will probably work. But the problem is it's like getting people to make that initial investment. A pinball RPG, okay, yeah, that sounds like it's going to work, right? Yeah.
It sounds like, to me, it sounds like, why didn't somebody come up with this before? But at the same time, well, I guess Wizorb.
No, there was an NES game too. Crud. My brain died. I don't know what it's called.
I think I remember you talking about it when you
I mentioned it one of the first times we were talking about it, but the name isn't coming back to me now.
Yeah. But at the same time, like, it's not going to be something that does like gangbusters. I mean, I think it could do well for them, but it's not going to be like at the top of everybody's charts or being talked about on every podcast or anything like that.
I think, well, there's a few prominent podcasts that have talked about it. well, I'm sorry, prominent isn't the right word, but there's podcasts that I listen to that have talked about it. So the word is out there. I think it's going to be like where's the advertising? It's coming out soon, but they haven't put much marketing behind it as far as advertising goes. I think they're relying on word of mouth. And in a situation like this, you almost have to, because no visual representation of this game is going to really convey what it's like to play it. Like, I have a pretty good idea of what it's going to be like to play it, but I also love pinball and I love RPGs.
Right.
So there's no way this is going to lose as long as everything feels right. You know what I mean? There's no way I'm going to be unhappy with this. Anyway, but that's me. And I mean, how many, again, niche within a niche. How many people love RPGs and pinball?
Yeah. To me, like, anytime that I see, like, huge pinball enthusiasts, that's all they are. And they're like, video games. You know what I mean? Like there does not seem to be a lot of crossover into those two realms that I have seen.
And I don't know why, because they're arcade machines. I mean, like, it's both. I mean, yeah, one's way more tangible than the other.
Yeah.
Whereas, video games are definitely a more digital thing. And I mean, they've tried the fusion a couple of times. The most infamous is probably Baby Pac-Man, where they've had that. There was also a Pac-Man pinball game, which had it wasn't a screen; it was a series of lights in the middle that you manipulated with the flippers. So you would lock the ball, and then you'd play the Pac-Man game in the middle, and you got a certain amount of turns to try to unlock the maze in the middle, and then it would spit the ball back out, and you have to play pinball to earn more turns. It's so this kind of a crossover idea has happened before on both realms. And I think this one looks like it's actually got a really good shot at pulling it off full sail. I think what you're going to find is people who really like RPG element type games are going to be drawn to it, and RPGs themselves, that kind of thing. Not so much the pinball crowd, but just this whole.
Well, also I was going to say, I think it's a game that could live or die by its writing. Like, if it's got, like, a clever script to it, that could really be a difference maker. And I know a lot of people will, like, skip stories and stuff like that, but I think if they do it right, you can be like, oh, this is fun. This is, like, I'm laughing at this, and it's, it's got its tongue firmly in its cheek, and I'm digging everything that they're saying.
Mm-hmm. It's got that, though. From what I've seen of it, again, I've seen a few levels, and that's about it. But I think if there's gamers that have played games like Devil's Crush and Alien Crush, which are those pinball video games that are like, you couldn't do this on a real table, like have an alien eat the ball and then go to another table and then smash alien eggs or something like that, but you can do that in a video game, but it feels as fun as playing a pinball table, but it's just more ridiculous. They're going to love this. I think RPG players are going to like it once they give it a shot.
How about fans of Crew Ball? Where do they stand?
Oh, fans of what?
Crew Ball.
I have no idea where they stand. I don't know what you're talking about, honestly. Crew Ball?
The Motley Crue pinball game?
Oh.
For Sega Genesis? No?
No, I didn't play that.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Sounds interesting. Crew Ball, huh?
Spelled as you would think it's spelled.
Yeah, okay. I'll have to try that. I must have missed that one. Well, I didn't have a Sega Genesis, so I didn't hear about that. I mean, I heard about Alien Crush and Devil Crush because freaking people were talking about them because they're really good. I didn't hear about Crew Ball, though.
Yeah, the benefits of working retail for so long. But yeah, I'm interested in that game. I was actually thinking about it the other day, just because it sounds like something that I would be interested in playing, and I was wondering what its status was and where it was going to be ending up. If it's PS4, I feel like it's just going to end up as a PS Plus game, though. So I hope they make some money, because
it's going to get a Steam release, and hopefully it'll get some promotion there. I really hope so.
Because even if it ends up on like the Christmas or the holiday Steam sale for like $1 or whatever, history has shown that once those games go off sale, they still end up selling a whole bunch of copies because there's so much word of mouth generated from everybody playing it all at the same time again.
Yeah, well, there's humble bundles too. I mean, that's a thing now, and I mean, these guys are indie devs. They're not. I mean, obviously Atlas isn't they like indie devs, like they work a lot with smaller titles and smaller teams to publish their games, but they could definitely end up on a humble. I always humble bundle is something. Oh, I did it anyway. Humble bundle.
And so I think you need to like lighten up on the pre-show drinks.
Didn't have any this time. I had a during show drink, and it wasn't even that much.
Little tiny bug feet, I don't really know what bugs eat. Don't want no one stepping on me, now I'm sympathizing with Flea. Living like a bug ain't easy. Living like a bug ain't easy.
Oh boy.
Speaking of humble bumble, it's getting close to Christmas.
Yes, it is. That's not really a thing for me though. Having grown up Jehovah's Witness, like,
oh right,
like I've gotten to the point in recent years where I will tell people, and it's really just like the people that are closest to me, that I don't celebrate Christmas, but I do observe annual gift giving day, or gift giving season rather, because I'll just, it's a good time to buy stuff because like everything's so, on sale and stuff like that. But
right.
I don't go hog wild. Black Friday, at midnight, I get on Amazon and I look for like a few like games and DVDs, and I'm usually done for me. And then, I'll get like something for like the really close people in my life, which that's not very many. So I'm usually okay. But you're probably like stressing it.
I am. I have. This sounds like a weird thing to say. My wife is a very, very good shopper. Like,
yes,
she is a bargain hunter.
Yes, we know.
She's already done Christmas shopping.
Oh, I'm not surprised. Yeah.
For all but a few people. I, on the other hand, she just yells from the other room. Actually, she just finished today, apparently. So she's done. I, on the other hand, have not even begun yet. So, yeah. It's going to be interesting. We'll see how this goes.
Now,
I don't have her skills or her patience.
Let me ask you something, because again, I didn't have experience with this as a kid, but I had friends who celebrated Christmas, of course, and maybe it's just a product of like when we grew up. But when did the change happen where it went from the kid wrote down what he wanted for Christmas, and it was like, a couple things, but then he got a thing from his parents, and then that was his Christmas gift, to the kids making a list of 10 or 15 things and then getting the entire list fulfilled, over the holiday season. Is that how it is in your house? Do your kids just have a laundry list and you're like, okay, well, we got to get this, and this before we finish shopping?
No, I mean, we can't get everything on the list. If we got everything on the list, we'd be broke, because the kids write down everything you can possibly think of that a kid would want.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I'm not really sure how to answer the question. When did it go from a couple things to a bunch of things?
Well, because maybe it's just because I grew up in a not rich neighborhood or anything, but my friends, they would come back from from Christmas vacation, and it's this was the thing, right? So they would bring their gift that they got and show it off, and it might be a game or it might be a toy or something, but that was the gift from they might get another gift from their grandparents and another gift from their best friend, but that was it. Where when I was working at Game Fellas, I would literally have parents coming in buying 8 or 9 things because it was on the kids' list, and I'm like, wow, okay, things changed. Or maybe it was just because I worked at a pretty affluent mall, so I was just dealing with different types of people.
We always landed somewhere in the middle where it wasn't a million things. The living room isn't full of stuff, but there's several gifts for everybody.
Okay.
We're not spending thousands and thousands of dollars on a kid.
Well, yeah.
We are, but just not on Christmas gifts.
Well, and to be fair, they weren't spending thousands of dollars, but it was definitely low hundreds, couple $100 at least. And it's like, wow, okay.
I think it's about where we land total.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, it's a weird thing for me as, like, kind of an outlier, like, kind of looking in and, like, wondering what's going on. But also, like, I mean, things have definitely changed because, like, when I was a kid, you know, Valentine's Day was for lovers. It wasn't for parents to buy their kids stuff. And I've always found that to be really weird.
Yeah, and at some point, that happened during our lifetime, I think. Because I remember at some point they started celebrating it in school and everybody had to buy something for everybody else. And I was like, well, this is weird because this is just weird. It was always weird. It's like, the most awkward holiday on the planet. It's
like, I like you, but I don't like you. I don't want you to get confused by this liking you.
Right. I don't know. Which is another opportunity for them to sell stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, beyond my religious upbringing, like for most of these things, like it you know, I object to them on a purely, like, philosophical level.
Yeah.
I don't celebrate Christmas, and, you know, as a kid, that was because my religion told me not to. But as an adult, I have, like, a whole other set of things where it's like, no, like, this, and this reason, like, I object to this. But I will buy my friend, like, a gift because, you know, Amazon has some really good deals, and, you know, I care about him.
Yeah, I think that's respectable. Like, the commercialization of everything is, it's like, yeah, and it's weird, like, as a kid, I don't know of any kid that isn't, like, stupid excited for the presents. I mean, that's just, there's no getting around that, right? No matter what you do, no matter what you tell them, no matter what ideas you try to put in their head, when Christmas morning comes around, they want to get to those presents. You know what I mean? But as you get older, it's about, oh, I get to go over to my parents' house Christmas Eve, and we have the big traditional dinner, and everybody's there, and then, you know, Christmas Day, we get to watch the kids get all excited like we used to get excited, and then that's really fun.
Right.
You know, we get excited too because we bought each other things.
Yeah, and I'm sure your wife has got you some awesome stuff that we'll be hearing about, like, for the next couple episodes after Christmas.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Hopefully you don't know them all yet, though, because I know you're really bad about, like, buying stuff that she already bought you.
That hasn't happened this year. I've been very careful. I have two separate lists now. One that is, like, all the games that I want for myself that I don't want to put on my list because I don't want people to, like, try to go buy me Mega Man Legends for $100 because don't do that. I have that on my list so that it's there if I ever see it and I know that I'm looking for it. But I have another list that's all it's much, you know, the shorter list, and it's got stuff that people can buy without having to hunt on Amazon or eBay for and get new for, like, under $20 or so. A bunch of 1999 games, things like that.
So is it like a comprehensive list of this is the stuff that you want, or like when people are buying you gifts, like your wife, like, you know, does she typically go off of that list, and so you kind of have an idea of what she's going to do, or is it more of like she's really good about paying attention to what you're talking about and then spring something on you?
She does both.
Okay.
You know, like, she'll get some things from the list, and then she'll just hear me talk about certain things and get them. I wish I was as good as she was, again, about this stuff, because I always feel like, oh man, you heard me say that, and you remembered it, and you wrote it down, and then you bought it for me, and, well, I got this off your list because I suck at being observant. So.
Yeah, because I have, like, a really weird, like, because it's not that I don't buy gifts or I don't get gifts, you know, like, I'm more of, like, a year-round gift giver, where it's like, oh, you know, I saw this and I thought of you, so here you go. Like, there's no other reason that you're getting this. Like, it made me think of you, or, you know, whatever. But I'm terrible at buying gifts. Like I definitely get that thing where it's like, oh, you shouldn't have, you know, type of reaction, and I'm like, aw. But the thing is, I don't want to, like, come out and ask somebody what they want, or, like, go off of a list or anything. 'Cause I think that's so, like, impersonal. It's almost like, you know, if someone who's really close to you just buys you a gift card. Like, here, I didn't know what to get you, so here's the most impersonal thing I could possibly do for you. And it's just like, it's almost like the, you know, have a great summer in the yearbook for me.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really complain too much when that happens, because then I'm like, oh, then this gets turned into this, which is something I really wanted, so.
Oh, sure. I mean, I'm not going to look a gift card in the mouth, but see what I did there. But but I guess me personally, like just giving somebody that, I would just feel like, yeah, I don't really know you well enough, so here's a $25 thing to Olive Garden. I don't know. That was the first thing that popped in my head. I guess I'm hungry.
Yeah.
But anything else?
Hmm?
Well, see, for me, I can't date a woman who isn't impressed by Olive Garden, because for me that's like fine dining.
Oh. They used to be a lot better. I feel like they've gone down in quality.
They have. They're actually having a lot of trouble, both them and Red
Oh.
Lobster, but to the point that they might either be, the rumors are they're either going to get bought or just like shutter completely.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
That's
But
a shame.
It is. I love both of those places. I mean, honestly, like growing up as a kid, like Red Lobster was like the place. It was like the super special occasion, to the point that, between the ages of like, 5 and 20, I probably only ate there like 4 times. Because it was a super big deal to eat at Red Lobster growing up. But I digress. Have you been up to anything else lately, Angelo?
Picked up a couple games. I picked up. Well, what I did was I went out to get a Pro controller because the tablet's great, but I just wanted something that was a little more comfortable when I'm playing a game like Bayonetta. Since I'm looking at the screen anyway, and I don't need to be looking at the tablet because it's not really doing anything, I figured I'll go get a Pro controller, right? So I went out and got a third-party one. It's smaller, but it has the offset thumbsticks, like the
nice.
Yeah, like the Xbox 360.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, that's for me. And
Yeah,
I ended up buying that.
I don't like the stick placement for the Pro controller. I don't like having both of them at the top. It's weird.
Yeah, it was a little cheaper. I think it's by what was it? I forget the name of the manufacturer, but I have some of their other stuff, and it holds up pretty well. So I don't have a problem. It's not like garbage. So I bought that, and then while I was there, I found some pre-owned games that I've been looking for. So I finally bought Tales of Xillia, or Exilia, or whatever it is, however you pronounce it. So for PS3, because that's the only thing it's on. And what I did was I ended up trading in the Xbox 360 version, because I haven't played it yet, and getting the PS3 version of Eternal Sonata. I have not played this game, but it's a music-themed RPG, and yeah, that's like right in my wheelhouse.
Dude, it's
I've heard the music's really good.
It's so good.
Good.
Like, it fires on like every cylinder. Like, I think the voice acting is great. I think the writing is great. I think it's one of the most poignant games I've ever played. Because you know the premise, right?
Yeah.
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 Like
I forgot his name now, but he's a famous composer.
Yeah.
He's dying. Chopin. Yeah.
Yeah, it's his fever dreams as he's dying.
While he's dying. Yep.
And that's actually, we'll be bringing that up because I do have that, dreams episode that is kind of coalescing in my head, and that's definitely one of the ones that was going to come up because it does that so well. But yeah, excellent game, and also just really pretty. Just
I remember
pretty.
seeing that. I know I played the demo on 360, and then I ended up, like I said, I traded it in the 360 version for this because apparently this has additional content that the other one didn't. So
I was going to ask you why you switched out.
Yeah. It has stuff that the 360 version doesn't have, and I figured if I'm going to do it, why not? I'll have the ultimate version. So, I would have done the same thing with Vesperia if we got that version, but we didn't. Stayed in Japan.
Oh, speaking of which, I actually bought that game on sale on Xbox Live. Like, it's on my hard drive because I bought it digitally. Should probably try that out sometime.
Vesperia?
I haven't played a Tales game since PS1, so.
So if you like voice acting, I think it's perfect voice acting, but it's not perfect voice acting. It's perfect for what it's trying to do. It has that Sunday morning cartoon quality of voice acting where it's definitely not like AAA, but it's also helps with sort of the overall feel of it. Like the whole thing looks like a cartoon. Like beautiful.
I mean, that's definitely how I would describe Eternal Sonata. Like, I wouldn't say that they're like excellent voice acting performances compared to like Metal Gear Solid. Right. But for the theme and the character designs and stuff, it fits perfectly and it works really well.
Yeah. And I liked it in that way, but the real gem in that is the dialogue, especially the banter between the characters and stuff. there's lines that I'm still thinking about that my wife and I still giggle about when I mention it to her. I think I mentioned on the podcast before, but there's one scene where there's a character who is not as well endowed as another, who's just staring at her at the end of the battle and goes, "They're bouncing." Just fascinated by this. So
I do love that.
It's funny. You know what? I mentioned that in Backloggers, not on this one. And I just put the sound clip at the end.
So if you didn't listen to Backloggers, it's new to you.
Mm-hmm.
But also listen to Backloggers.
Yeah.
And also we'll probably do new Backloggers soon. Things have been crazy.
Yeah, same here. I mean, we've been meaning to. I'll mention this here since there's no really other place for me to mention it. We've been meaning to be doing the Halloween one, and we just haven't. I did start playing Amnesia. It is really you picked you. So you're the one that recommended this game, and of course it's a humanoid anthropomorphic monster thing. You jerk. Did you know that going in?
I mean, I've kind of seen glimpses of the thing, but it didn't occur to me at the time that was like your biggest trigger. Mm-hmm. So
one of them, yeah.
My bad.
This thing, the first, we'll talk about it when we get in the game. But the first time you see it, it's the end of the hall, and I'm like, oh no, are you kidding me? So yeah, it was effective until it. Well,
we'll get to it. But I mean, that should make for a good conversation. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's not too long of a game, so hopefully I can power through that like in the next week or so, and we can just get that recorded.
I think I'm almost at the end, honestly.
Excellent.
So
yeah, get back on that Backloggers horse.
Yeah, I've been slacking on that too. Lots going on in my life too, so
Yeah, it's been a roller coaster for me emotionally. Like I've kind of hinted at it, like through my blog and things that I've written and things I've talked about, here and there on the show. But like, things were not good for a while, and then I ended up like driving from Austin to Colorado Springs in a weekend to go see my best friends, the ones that I've talked about that moved away about a year and a half ago, just because I needed to see like some friendly faces. And
right.
I guess it kind of sucks that like I have to drive, that far, to get that. But I mean, it was like just what I needed. Like, we didn't do crap. Like we just did what we always did back in Austin. It's just like hang around the house and talk and, like watch movies and, like none of the discussion was very deep. It was all talking about like the upcoming Marvel movies and how awesome Arrow is and, stuff like that. But it was like comfort food for me. Like it was really important, but also kind of, because I guess I haven't mentioned on the show, but I got a new car. Cause I ran my 2003 Honda Accord literally into the ground. Had like almost 200,000 miles on it. It was in such bad shape that I got $100 in trade-in. Like, ooh. It was dead. Like, put a bullet in it. But I used to always go on road trips when I was younger, and I hadn't been able to do that for like the last like 6 or 7 years, partially because gas had gotten so crazy, and I wasn't making a lot of money, but also just the car couldn't handle it. And so now it's like, well, I have this new car, I'm making good money, gas prices are actually down, and also my girlfriend is long distance, so I've kind of been on the road more, often than in the past anyway, and it just kind of rekindled that fire. So it was kind of like going back in time, like, and it made me feel good. Like, I don't like to talk about it because I still feel that like at 34, I'm still a very young man. Like I don't feel like I'm getting older. I don't feel bad. I actually feel better, like physically than I did when in my 20s. But like, it was really cool for me that like, I got up at 6:45 on Friday, worked until 3. We got out early because it was end of month. Worked until 3, got on the road, ended up in Colorado Springs at 4 a.m, slept for 4 hours, hung out with my friends, and then got like a decent night's sleep Saturday night, but then left Sunday at 3 o'clock and ended up rolling back into Austin at 5 a.m, getting an hour of sleep and then going to work like nothing happened. Like, the fact that I could still do that, like, just, I don't know, it's like a reaffirmation or something of like, yeah, I'm still good. I still got it. It didn't kick my butt, any worse than it would have in my 20s. I mean, don't get me wrong. I was still dead tired and I turned in early the next few nights after that, but,
Right.
It's definitely something that I needed. So, and as
Pull
such,
it off.
yeah, I pulled it off. And I do plan on going to visit them, like, for Christmas, because I'm going to be off, like, I'm off for, like, 5 days, which is really awesome. So, and that's not, being counted against my vacation time, so. But
Nice.
just felt good to do that. But, of course, because of that, I didn't really get any gaming done other than, like, some iOS stuff when I was hanging out at their apartment because, I was on the road most of the time. I was on the road for 28 hours of that 48-hour period.
Mm-hmm. Wow. It's a lot of driving.
It's a lot of driving.
Yeah. When I drove from, I'm in upstate New York, down to North Carolina, I forget how long that was. But by the time we got there, I figured if I had to spend one more hour in this car, someone would just have to die. There's no way around it. It would probably be me, actually. My wife would probably have killed me. She just said yup from the other room. So, yeah, when you're cooped up in a car like that with 3 other people, it's only a matter of time.
Yeah, see, I guess I had a different challenge in the fact that it was just me alone with my thoughts for, 13 hours. And that can go to a dark place sometimes. But I also had some music and I had some podcasts.
Yeah.
And, it was good. And, it was a pretty interesting trip. And then next time, hopefully my girlfriend will be with me, so.
Yeah. I have a pretty ridiculous commute, and podcasts, man. It's the only way to really do it. And it does help. You kind of decompress on the way home a little bit.
Absolutely.
Some goofball talk about video games for an hour.
Yeah.
It helps.
Like us. Hopefully you listen to us on the way home sometimes, and I hope that we're entertaining. I don't know. Sometimes I wonder. No, I kid. I don't know, do you have anything else? I feel like we're kind of reaching the natural, conclusion, unless there's some other stuff.
Sure feels that way.
Yeah.
Unless you want me to share the story about the tick.
Well, now you have to.
I do.
And unfortunately, it's not giant and blue and says spoon when it runs into battle.
No, it's kind of a silly thing, but basically, when we were talking about our fears in the last episode, one happened in real life that just sort of ticks suck. Everybody knows this, but I think I've mentioned before that I have a fear of needles, of something going into my skin, and just my brain telling me that does not need to be there, and in fact needs to come out right away, and will not let any part of my brain rest until this issue is resolved. So when you discover a tick has buried itself in your leg, apparently, for me anyway, it triggers the same response, and I have to wait because I have to go to a doctor and then get it removed and then get antibiotics. So for a good 45 minutes, I'm sweating bullets. I'm driving and my hands are sweating, and I have to keep paying attention because as I'm driving to the doctor's office, I realize I'm speeding, and be like, no, slow down, because I'm just a neurotic mess. So that's just sort of another real life fear thing that isn't supposed to really be scary. I mean, yeah, it's unnatural to have something jammed in you, but it's not supposed to be scary. So
how large of a protrusion is sticking into you from a tick?
That's just its head. Yeah, you can see it in there, and it's of the whole tick, it's just the head part that's in there. The head and I don't know, some parts off the front that help it get in there. But it's not really in there, but once I saw it, there was no convincing any part of me that thing didn't need to come out right away.
That sounds terrifying.
Mm-hmm. And then, this is kind of a funny story. So the guy that's local here, I mean, we have a lot of, just to give you an idea of the area where I live, literally right across from the doctor's office I go to is the Sportsman's Museum and Hall of Fame, where they have stuffed dead animals and things and all that stuff. Right,
that type of sportsman. Okay.
Yeah. Hunters and things like that, and it's huge. I mean, it used to be a supermarket, so it's a pretty big building that they've got for this. So the guy that I went to, my doctor, is fascinated with ticks anyway, and so this is the right place for him to be in. And he got so excited by apparently the wonderful specimen I had on my leg, and he had new disposable tick removal kits that they had gotten into the office that he'd been using, and he was really happy with how they were working. So he was talking about it, and he got it off, and the tick came out perfectly, still alive, started walking all over the place. He was thrilled. I have to get a specimen. I have to get this. Like, he wrote his doctoral thesis on ticks. He's so obsessed with these things. So he goes out of the examination room to get a specimen bottle, leaves the door open, and doesn't some old lady just come hobbling down the hallway, and I'm sitting there, my pants are down around my ankles because it's on my leg.
And also because of the podcast you're on.
Yep. And then I see the nurse that's with her see the door open, see me before she realizes, and here's this old lady really slowly, and he's trying to hurry her past the door, standing between me and the door so we can go back and close it without her noticing. It was pretty hysterical. So that was fun.
You probably gave her the last thrill of her life, Angelo.
I don't think she saw me. I think she was so focused on I have to walk down this hallway, that kind of thing. Real taking her time. So
okay.
Anyway,
it wasn't one of those. I remember what those were like. I guess at that point it's all country kitchen buffet anyway.
Cracker Barrel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I have a thing for chain restaurants, Angelo.
They're pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a place for them. We had Panera bread for lunch today. It wasn't bad.
Yeah, for living in a town known for all these quirky places, I don't tend to get to them very often. I did just get introduced to a place called Gordeau's, though, which I guess is a thing where everything is donut based. The whole menu is donut based. And so, I had a burger where the bun was a donut.
I've heard about this. I think I've seen pictures of it.
Yeah.
It looks like a heart attack.
Kind of. And then, of course, they have actual, straight-up dessert donuts. Because, obviously, the donut for my burger wasn't sweet. It was a savory donut.
Right.
But it's that dough, it's, very, very soft and spongy. And, yeah, it's good stuff. Not something that I would go to regularly, but definitely something that if somebody was in town, I'd be like, we need to go to Torchy's and we need to go to Gordeau's, for sure, and then maybe a couple other places, but...
Yeah, it was kind of like when KFC did that thing where they did the bacon sandwich between two pieces of fried chicken. Remember that?
Oh, the double down, yeah.
Double down.
I double downed.
I tried it, and I was like, I will never, ever do this again, but I have to do this, Well, I did it once and never wanted to do it again, but I did try it.
I mean, really all they did was they took, a, chicken patty platter and then just, put some cheese between it and have to eat it with your hands instead of with a fork. It wasn't the best experience. It was kind of overload, but at the same time, it wasn't this is the worst thing I've ever had in my life. It's freaking bacon and fried chicken. Come on. Oh, bacon fried chicken.
Bacon and fried chicken. Yeah. So.
I've been doing the Homer drool lately because I don't know. I haven't watched Simpsons in so long, but I still speak in Simpsons vernacular. But yeah, okay. I think we've literally run out of things to talk about.
Yeah, we're dragging it now.
Apologies. I mean, I think normally you and I can go for hours. It's just we've both been really frazzled.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah. We did a good job.
Yeah, and I think just for listeners, the next few episodes are going to be more of this, just because I don't think the way that our episodes, our recording schedule is, the way they fall with the holidays, it's just not conducive to us being able to get together for big topics. I do think that we'll end up having Casey on the next episode, who is one of our newer writers on Pixelbit. You may know him as Volvo Crusher on Twitter, or Epic Green Man, other places on the web. But he wanted to get on and talk some Dragon Age, which I know I will be talking a ton about next episode, because it's coming out a week from when we're recording this, and I'm excited. So we'll have another, just freeform episode like this. And then we're going to close out the year with a special music roundup where we're going to talk about our favorite music of the 7th generation, because I think we can pretty well say the 7th generation is pretty much done. I think anything that comes out from this year on, or from next year on, is pretty much just going to be ports. I don't think there's going to be too much original content coming out for those systems. So I think I'm pretty safe to say that we can talk about our favorite music from last generation and be pretty authoritative on it. So that's what we got going on, and then, hopefully after the new year, we'll get back on to our topic-heavy stuff, because we've got some really good shows lined up, guys. We just haven't been able to, get them together, so. Yeah. But they are in the works. And special guests and all that good stuff, so. All right. You've wasted, over an hour of your time with us. Actually, yeah, a little over an hour of your time, so hopefully you got some enjoyment out of it. If not, we can always come back and do it again in 2 weeks. So that's the great thing about doing a podcast, is that no matter how bad one episode is, you always have a chance to make up for it.
Setting the bar really high for this one, aren't you?
Yeah. I don't even know what music I'm putting in this one. That's I don't even know what we're going to call this one. So
yeah.
But you can call us on Twitter and tell us what you thought. It's a really awkward segue, but you can find Angelo at
A Roguish Ham.
And you can find me at Julian_Titus, although to be fair, I loaded Twitter onto my new phone, but I don't have my password memorized, which means that I haven't been on Twitter for 2 weeks. I gotta say, it feels kind of good. It feels kind of good. But I'll be getting back on there pretty soon. And of course you can find Patrick at Someboss. Tell him that you missed him on the show and beg him to come back next episode. He's really missed an episode, though. I know he really wanted to be on here. It just didn't happen. So, yeah, and that's going to do it for this episode. Until next time, for myself and Angelo, thanks for listening, and keep it pantsless, Internet. Goodbye.
Yeah.
It's a show.
Mr. Pants and I'm coming to get you. Better run for your life, you better run or I'll get you. I got paws like a cat, cause that's what I am. I'll throw up on the top and scratch up your hands. I'm the roughest of a skinny in the land. My name is Mr. Pants, I'm the kitty cat man. Nobody gonna stop it from happening my way. My name is Mr. Pants and have a nice day. You'll scream for your life cause you won't be happy. My name is Mr. Pants and I'm actually kinda crappy. Mr. Pants is my name and I'd like to say hi. Give me a call, we'll hang out sometime. I'm Mr. Pants.